Hey, it's Dan, welcome back. You're watching iAllegedly, and I've got a very good one for you today because as we start August, there is so much going on in the economy with changes, rent moratoriums being stopped, being frozen again, all this stuff happening. Before I get into it, please take a second to hit the like button, please hit the subscribe button, share this with all your friends and colleagues. This is a very cool town. I've been down here a few times with you guys. But summer's fantastic, and as things get back to semi-normal, you can walk through and buy all these beautiful shops. It's kind of quiet down here, but it's a cool summer day. A lot of people walking, shopping. We're gonna hit the Sawdust Festival later, so you guys get to see a little bit of that, what that's all about. But these shopping areas, I mean, a lot of these stores were destroyed and closed over the last year and a half, and you're starting to see people come back out. So it's very cool, perfect weather for this. Let's get into it. Now the first thing is something that you're seeing a lot of in the news right now, and that's the eviction moratorium finally ending. And you know, it's gonna get crazy out there because in so many jurisdictions it ended. And people were, you know, angry at the Biden administration. They wanted them to do something, but you have to understand, guys, it takes Congress to enact something like this and to extend this. That's the way it should have been done. That's how it was done the first time. And the CDC overstepped its bounds with what they did, and that was, you know, overturned by an appellate judge. Now, it's over with, guys. So evictions can proceed in 99% of all areas. Now, here in California, they've extended it through the end of September, but again, because it was overturned by the CDC, I'm sure that there's smart lawyers out there fighting this right now. Now, there is a judge in DeKalb County in the Atlanta area that has said that she is extending the eviction moratorium for another 60 days. She's blaming COVID for this and saying that she does not want to see people get evicted during this time, so she's extended it 60 days. I don't know how she's going to be able to do this. I don't know how it's going to hold up. I'm sure that there's going to be legal fights to this as early as this coming week. So it's over, guys. 17 months of free rent, and also this has basically been, you know, a rent forbearance during this time. You owe the rent. So for those of you thinking that you're just gonna skate and not rent, I've spoken to so many landlords. I spoke to one yesterday that told me that the first question is, did you pay your rent during the last year and a half? During the last 18 months, have you paid rent, okay? And if people say no, there's gonna be problems. Plus, if they say yes, they want proof of canceled checks and how you paid for things like that. So if you people think that you're just gonna not pay rent and then go someplace else, it's not gonna happen right now. The other thing that's maddening, share your thoughts on that, by the way, guys. The other thing that's maddening is that it has just been, you know, divulged that there was $800 million in stimulus checks sent to people in prison. Okay? So I have had, I'm not kidding you, I'm not exaggerating, 100 people write and comment and said, hey Dan, I didn't get the first one, I didn't get the second one, didn't get the third one, didn't get all three of them. So seriously, people that did not get stimulus checks, how upset are you to find out that people that are in prison got stimulus checks? So, I mean, that's insane, guys. So you've got people that are out there that are incarcerated and got this money. Now, they tried to get the money back, and they went back, they went to a judge, and the judge ruled that it was arbitrary and capricious that these people, that this decision was made and he couldn't overturn it. So, you know, it's decisions like this that, you know, your family's struggling, your family's hurting, couldn't get a stimulus check, and people in prison are getting $800, $1,200, $1,600, whatever the last payments were. It's maddening. So please share your thoughts on this stuff. I really want to, you know, get your feeling on how you guys feel about all this. So let me know, okay? Now, the next two stories are one of the channel's favorites, and that is cryptocurrencies, and especially Bitcoin, okay? There is a guy that owns Pantera Capital, which I love the name, okay? Dan Moorhead is a hedge fund manager who he says the real value of Bitcoin is $700,000 per Bitcoin, okay? Now, you guys can laugh, you guys can think this guy's a total idiot. as I'm outside the Candy Baron, okay? But Mr. Moorhead thinks that Bitcoin is worth $700,000, and he runs a crypto fund that he's ran since 2013. They have $2.8 billion in assets that they handle. And again, it's kind of a lot, but you know, I think he's delusional. But again, the next story that's tied to this is a guy named Nick Sears. Nick Sears is a 17-year-old kid who mines Bitcoin and makes $540,000 a year mining Bitcoin. 540 grand a year mining Bitcoin. And the funny thing about this is that they were saying he can't wait to turn 18 so he can legally own Bitcoin. Why? Who says, okay, Bitcoin's untraceable, Bitcoin is not tracked. Who says you have to be 18 to buy Bitcoin? Seriously, tell me where it's written there. So I love these quasi-semi rules that you guys have for these cryptocurrencies, where a kid making 540 grand a year out of Washington is not old enough to own it. Okay, who says that? Okay, where is it written that Bitcoin is supposed to be 18 and over? I want to know that. So please share your thoughts on this. I mean, I give this kid credit for making, you know, over $500,000 a year mining Bitcoin. I think it's crazy that they're putting an age restriction on this. Why is that, guys? Tell me, share your thoughts on this. I always love hearing stories about athletes, and this next athlete story, got a few of them today for you in this video. The next one is Saquon Barkley. He's with the New York Giants. Now, the interesting thing about this guy is that this guy takes his endorsement money and has put it into Bitcoin exclusively. He makes money from selling shoes and hats and shirts and everything with his name all over it. But this cat has taken his money and put it all into Bitcoin when it comes to endorsements, which is $10 million a year is what it's averaging. Now, Billy Barnbra is a guy you've never heard of, but he's the Forbes expert on cryptocurrencies, and he says this is a real problem. This could be an absolute nightmare for this guy, because this guy could eventually be upside down because of cryptocurrencies. It could be proved to be one of the biggest mistakes in all of sports. Now, with this research that I started to do, it's very fascinating to learn that the very first person that sold a shoe and made money from it, you guys all know the name, it's Michael Jordan. Now, Michael Jordan, whether you agree with him or not, this guy paved the way for athletes to make money on endorsements. This guy, you know, early on in his contract, when he made $3 million a year, he was making $3 million in endorsements. $6 million man, and then the rest is history, and it went up from there. But Michael Jordan at times made $100 million and still does make money every year selling shoes, but he paved the way for Charles Barkley, for LeBron James, for other people. And you can talk about who's the greatest of all time. I think the greatest athlete as far as earner is Michael Jordan of all time. So, you know, I don't see Michael Jordan putting his money into cryptocurrency. He's a degenerate gambler. We've all heard the stories about that guy with gambling on the golf course and everything like that. But this guy is got a lot of good stories about him. But share your thoughts on that, guys. What do you guys think about Michael Jordan and Saquon Barkley? Okay, really want your input on that. So it's nice to be out on the boardwalk. It is just a normal summer day, and there are a ton of people out here just enjoying the beach. Volleyball courts are packed. And speaking of sports, wanted to cover one more sports story. And there is a man named Evander Kane. First things first, that guy's got a very cool name. He should be like a villain for DC or Marvel or one of those sci-fi things, Evander Kane. Anyways, this cat plays for the San Jose Sharks. Now, like so many of us out there, he's had an acrimonious divorce in his life. And his soon-to-be ex-wife, Anna's a little upset, and she started to post on Instagram that he is a degenerate gambler. So much so that he would throw games. and he would gamble, and he would gamble away games, and he'd give up points, and he would throw games so that he could combat his gambling losses. Now, you can say, oh, that's not true, that's ridiculous. Well, the NHL is investigating this guy, and rightfully so. So, in other words, you know, the last bastion of sports is that these people are honest and truthful. If you look at people like Pete Rose, who they say bet on his own team, he was a player manager for the Cincinnati Reds, and this cat was accused of gambling on his own team. So Evander Kane's gonna be looking for a job. Now, his wife is saying, who's pregnant, is saying that this guy is out gambling and hanging out with chicks in other countries and partying and not making the house payment, and they're getting foreclosed upon because he's not paying the bills, but he's gambling on sports and throwing games for his own team. So share your thoughts, guys. You guys have any opinion on that? So I want to know what you guys think. So we're at the Sawdust Festival right now, and this is a big art festival that they have once a year. It's nice because it's back open, and very cool because you've got everything from local artists here, and selling paintings, selling everything. We buy the season pass and come out here and check it out. And right now, I'll walk over to the glass blower just for a second.
Why is he sticking it in the oven?
Remember what happened last time? Ooh, you know what he's doing?
What?
He's getting more glass. Watch. Oh, I bet it's gonna be a lot. Oh, it's crazy.
Hot. Very hot.
Oh, it's sparkly.
It's turning.
This is what the scissors are for, Caleb. Cutting the extra glass off.
Was that glass? Big.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. That's
Now the next story I've had a ton of requests for, and it's about PPP forgiveness. First things first, guys, there's some good news with this. And if you have not hired a professional to help you with this, your accountant, the bank that you got the PPP loan through, you need to talk to them directly and get them to help you with the PPP forgiveness. They're not necessarily obligated, but you do need a professional to do this. A tremendous amount of people have gotten their PPP loans completely forgiven, round one and round two, but a lot of people have made the mistake of filling this out themselves and making just huge mistakes on this, and they've been denied. Now, the SBA has issued a ruling because they're so behind on the appeals for this that you do not have to make a payment on your PPP loan while you're in the appeal process. Now, that being said, it's not forbearance, it's just you don't have to make a payment right now. So get ready. If you don't get this thing approved and get it 100% forgiven, you're gonna be making those loan payments for 5 years. So talk to an accountant, talk to a professional, get some serious advice on this because it's very easy to do this. It's a one-page application. Like my accountant says, why would anybody fill this out themselves? Why wouldn't you hire somebody? What's it gonna cost you? Okay, a few $100. I'm not giving financial advice. I don't know how to do it. So you need to seek a professional to do that. But it's very easy, and if you spent the money the way you were supposed to, then you're in good shape. So don't just let them tell you that it's going to be denied. Take some time and get this thing filled out correctly, and you'll have the loan forgiven, like so many people have. I have turned so many people on to PPP loans, and I'd say like 99% of them have been forgiven already. So good luck. Do what you can do to get that handled, but seek the advice of a professional. Your accountant, if you don't have an accountant, go to the lender. If you don't get a lender, look for somebody to help you fill that form out and make sure you do it right. It will not be expensive. I found a great story in the Michigan Farm News, which, okay, I read a lot of different stuff. They broke down inflation and where it's headed in 2021. But the cool thing was they had a graph that showed everything from 5 or 6 different decades. Now, the 70s that we've all heard about lately, them, you know, with rampant inflation, overall it was 6.4%. The 80s had 5%. After that, it got right around 2% and below. And in the last few years, that's where we've been at. Now, we're seeing it above 6% again. And depending on who you talk to, Peter Schiff, John Williams from Shadow Stats, they're saying it's above 13% right now. So we're seeing staggering inflation right now. And again, I'm not gonna ask you guys, what are you seeing? Because we're all seeing the same thing. We're seeing smaller portions in restaurants. We're seeing higher prices all the way around. We're seeing ticket prices for events like this that I'm at today have gone up. The yearly pass has gone up. All this stuff has gone up right before our eyes. So if you think that this is just gonna be a temporary thing, I think you're crazy. But it's great to look at these other stats from different decades to see where it's at today and compare it to those times. And you know, people grew up in the 80s, you know, people like me that graduated in the early 80s from high school. I remember certain things being certain prices and how they just skyrocketed and how it affected my father's business and families, different businesses during that time. And it's different now. So I'm seeing real problems with clients. I'm seeing real problems with family members. The biggest problem right now is the supply chain. People cannot get everything that they need. And you know, one of the listeners, subscribers, took me to lunch on Friday and got to talk to the owner of the restaurant, and his biggest problem is getting condiments, getting different supplies, getting cups, holders, to-go products, you know, the little cases that hold sauces, things like that. He's having a real difficult time buying those in bulk from his suppliers because his suppliers don't have it. So what are you guys seeing? Another one is glues and different products to assemble things. People are having a real difficult time getting adhesives, which sounds crazy, and you don't think about that, but how do you tape the box shut? How do you seal things? How do you, if you laminate panels for wall systems, how do you deal with that when you don't have glue to hold it together? Okay, share your thoughts, guys. I really want to know what you're seeing, what you're thinking about this inflation. You think it's going to go away? I think that we have just got a massive problem, and we're at just the beginning of it right now, personally. People send me stories all the time, and one of them I couldn't find more information on, but it led me down a rabbit hole and found two other things. And that was supposedly that there is a class action lawsuit against Apple. You know how if you have an iPhone, you get phone memories where they say, look at this memory from 2015, and it pops up and it shares that memory. Well, supposedly there was a class action lawsuit in regards to that, and I couldn't find it. So if you guys know anything about that, people were upset that it would show the dead pets, it would show past relationships where the guy left you for somebody better, you know, that kind of stuff. People were upset about that. Well, it also led down the path of a couple class action lawsuits that are pretty cool that I wanted to tell you about. The first one was from classmates.com. That's the aggregator that is basically, it's the online yearbook. Every high school, they have basically scanned all the different yearbooks in from across the country, and you can basically register there, sign up, hook up with old classmates, and get a copy of your yearbook. But there's one woman that's very upset about this, Barbara Napke from Ohio. She filed a class action lawsuit. She said that they used her image and her likeness without her approval, which they probably did. Plus, I haven't seen pictures of Miss Napke, but probably has big 80s hair or something like that and doesn't like it. But anyways, there's a class action lawsuit against that. So that particular lawsuit is for the state of Ohio, but were you guys used? You know of anybody that had their image taken from classmates.com and used without their authorization? You know, you could have money coming. Now the next one is Simple Green. Simple Green, the cleaner, they just approved a $4.35 million settlement where you can get up to 30 bucks based on you buying Simple Green products. Now, if you did that, you could have money coming. So the link's below in the video description, take a look at it. But the claims, you know, they agreed to settle claims without any wrongdoing and all that stuff. But I get a kick out of these class action lawsuits and the settlement, but this one can get you up to 30 bucks. So the link's downstairs in the video description, take a look at it, share it with all your friends and colleagues, and let me know if you guys have ever joined anything like this in the past, because I've been involved with these things in the past, and some have worked out, some have not, but share your thoughts on that. As I was doing the classmate story, one thing that came up that was floored me was during 2020, they said that over 61% of the people surveyed had kept in contact and reconnected with past boyfriends and girlfriends from high school. Okay? I don't know what that's about, but what do you guys think about that? Did you guys do that? Did you hook up with your old girlfriend? I did. No, I'm kidding. No, but you know what I mean? So anyways, share your thoughts on that too. But also the next thing is the mortgage forbearance, okay? Right now, the numbers, we cannot get the real numbers yet. And now that this is done and put off, you're going to see an absolute slew of foreclosures hit the market in the month of August. I have spoken to a lot of professionals about this, and you're gonna see some crazy, crazy stuff come down the road in August where the people that are in rent forbearance, the landlords, spoke to a realtor who says he has 6 clients that as soon as the moratorium ends, they're going to list their property because they never want to be in the landlord business again. Never want to collect rent, never want to be in a business where they have to worry about collecting rent from these people. The people in mortgage forbearance, it's time to pay up, guys. Write a check and pay your past mortgages, past mortgage payments. Most people don't have 17 months worth of rent or their mortgage payment, so there's going to be a lot of problems out there for this. So share your thoughts, you guys, if you think that this is going to come crashing down like I do. But again, I'm not trying to be a naysayer and talk bad about this, but I think we're going to see just an absolute flood of houses on the market. Now, you can talk about Blackstone and BlackRock and your rich cousin buying everything, but that's not going to be the case. You're going to see a massive amount of foreclosures and properties on the market, which will then in turn tank the prices. Call me crazy, call me whatever you want, but share your thoughts on that, guys. Want to know. I'm going to end this on these 2 stories, and that is, okay, I found an article about 25 candy bars that were eliminated. Okay, I don't eat candy, haven't for some time, but as I started looking through these, it was kind of cool because it reminded me of certain things. But one of them was a bar called the Reggie Bar, which was based on, it was sold on license from Reggie Jackson, the Yankee slugger, and then he came to the California Angels. And when I was a kid and I was in high school, Reggie came to our team and was a slugger. But, so the candy bar was very cool. But here's the cool thing that most people don't know. To get Reggie Jackson to the California Angels, they made this guy a very, very lucrative deal where he got 50 cents. When the attendance level hit a certain level for a game, he got 50 cents for everybody that showed up. So people used to go out there and throw change to the outfield towards Reggie Jackson. They also did the same thing with Dave Winfield, and Dave Winfield was like, hey, I'm picking the money up. So that was kind of cool. But the final thing is bacon, okay? As ridiculous as this sounds, is that there are a slew of laws here in California that go into effect at the beginning of the year that make it so that you may not be able to buy bacon in California. They have put restrictions on how animals are treated, the size of the pens, how they're raised, you know, etc. Now, whether you eat meat, you don't eat meat, you don't eat pork for religious or whatever reason, you're vegan, whatever, okay? The point of this is that, think about what I'm telling you, only 3% of all the hog producers in the United States are going to be able to meet this requirement right now, 3%. So you will not have bacon in California in January. Isn't that crazy? So anyways, you heard it here first. Stories below, share it with all your friends and colleagues. Please don't forget to like the video. We got a bunch of cool stuff coming out. I hope you guys like this art fair, okay? Don't forget to like the video, hit the subscribe button, share it with all your friends and colleagues. I will see you guys very soon. We have the Patreon channel you can join. We've got a bunch of cool stuff coming out this week. Also, Aaron, who I stayed at. When I went to Texas, I stayed at Aaron's house, and this guy was in the military. This guy is an active law enforcement individual, and I learned so much from this guy. We did some serious training that I wish I could talk on this channel about what we did, but I learned a lot. But Aaron, who's a very cool guy, started his own channel called Texas Silver. I'm gonna leave a link below. Please check out his channel because he talks about, you know, how to save money, silver, things like that. Aaron's a great guy, and I hope you guys will check him out. Thanks. I will see you guys very soon.